Recently, it was reported that the new Snow White remake is going to be delayed a whole year in order to actually finish up the shooting of it because of the SAG strikes going on and interfering with all that and interfering with a lot of the promotional aspect of it. But I never really believed that excuse. It just seemed like a convenient excuse, in my opinion, where they're saying like, oh, yep, this is going to be delayed. It's not our fault. It's the strike's fault. I mean, we would have released it in March if it wasn't for the strikes. But now we're starting to get insiders coming forward from Disney saying that, like, no, they're actually delaying it because they have substantial amount of work that they need to do on this. Now, keep in mind, these are insiders that are anonymous, so you can take it with a pinch of salt, but it does actually make sense, at least according to me, what like some of the stuff that they're saying about this. Last week, the studio announced that it pushed back the film's release until March 2025, a whole year after the scheduled date, citing the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strikes as the driving force behind the decision. But an insider has exclusively told DailyMail.com that Disney is said to be figuring out what to do after making a $330 million turkey. I mean, $330 million. I mean, because for other movies, you would think like they would just scrap it or dump it on Disney Plus or something like that. But $330 million, that seems like it's something that they don't just want to write off as a loss for the studio. And it seems like they're trying to make this work and trying to force it to work, especially if they thought this could interfere with potential sequels, like it has been alleged by this insider that that's their biggest concern. If this fails, then it would ruin their live action remakes, or it might sour their future live action remakes or spin-offs and sequels and things like that. So they really want this movie to work. And Disney's been suffering at the box office for so long. I mean, this is probably something that they can't afford to just let go. I mean, it's almost like they need to make this work. And I think any other situation, they probably would have delayed it if the strikes really were that much of a factor. But I don't think they would have delayed it a whole year. I mean, you only delay it a whole year if there's like substantial amount of shooting that you need to do. And if since this movie's been in production for over a year already, it seems like there is a lot of filming that they still need to do on this, which indicates that, like, yeah, they're doing a lot of reshoots in order to try to fix this problem. So the decision comes after Rachel Zegler, 22, who plays the titular princess, launched a woke tirade at the original weird plot with a stalker prince, despite having only watched the 1937 animation once as a child. And one of the things that people were speculating about this movie is that this was the original photo, and I believe Daily Mail also released this an original photo. They leaked it, and people were saying like, okay, this is the Seven Dwarfs, and this is the first photo that Disney released was this, and that was last week. And one of the reasons people were saying, like myself included, why we think that they're delaying this a whole other year is they're actually trying to replace all the actors and CG over them with dwarfs like this, and that's why these look like they're such rushed, cheap CG characters. Because they're like going to have to do a lot of work between now and March of 25 in order to actually get this finished. Now, I have heard other people say like, no, these characters are still in the movie. These are just like a separate group of people. Like there's the Seven Dwarfs, and then there's apparently 7 bandits as well, or 8 bandits with the prince substitute character who's totally not a stalker in this one. So I don't know if that's necessarily the case, if they're going to have 2 groups, or if these are supposed to be the initial dwarfs and that they're actually trying to change course and put these characters over them instead. I can believe either scenario, but I'm leaning more towards like they're actually trying to replace these characters. At least that makes more sense to me. But going back to the whole Zegler tirade that they said, they also have to remove themselves from the bad taste in the mouths of online critics and want to instead deliver a great film and get to a point where they get it right. And that was one of the things I was speculating, like a lot of the time, kind of in the past, about Rachel Zegler and some of the comments that she's made, because Disney, I was saying, they had several options. They can just proceed with normal. They can either cancel the movie, which I didn't think they were going to do. They can dump it on Disney Plus in order to try to mitigate their losses, or they could try to push back the release date and hope that people would forget about it. But the problem, at least for Disney, is I don't think people are going to forget, because I mean, you look at when it was initially announced that Rachel Zegler was going to play Snow White. I mean, this was from September 9th of 22. And people are still talking about this now. And as soon as they start promoting the movie, like it's supposed to come out March of 25, as soon as the promotional aspect of it starts up again, people are just going to start talking about it again. I mean, basically, it's going to reignite everything. Are some people going to forget? Yeah, in the meantime, people are probably going to forget. But then they're going to be reminded of again as soon as the promotional part of this starts up. So I really don't see this as actually being the primary excuse. I mean, they're saying that in that Daily Mail article that, yeah, they want to put some space between now and then. And I guess it wouldn't hurt. But at the same time, it's not going to be a saving grace for them. I mean, it only does make sense that they have to do a lot of reshoots in order to try to fix this mistake. I mean, they do mention in this article movies like Cats as an example of what not to do, or Sonic the Hedgehog as examples of what to do. I mean, they delayed that movie, did a lot of change up on the CG design of the character, and people liked it and supported the movie as a result, and it got a sequel. So maybe they're trying to do that with this, actually go back and fix some of the mistakes and rework the script and hopefully make something that people actually like. But I think Rachel Zegler is just too off-putting for general audiences, and I really don't see this actually working. And if the $330 million that they said they spent on this movie is an accurate figure, this is going to be a huge loss for Disney, and I really don't see them being able to just tank something like that. I mean, we're probably going to see in the future a lot more cheaper movies because they just need to pinch pennies. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think this will actually save them if they did a bunch of reshoots, or do you think it's just too late for them at this point? And if you like this video, make sure you click that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.